Hello, and welcome to week 2 of English 120. This week, we're going to be talking about active reading. We're also going to be talking a little bit about how to get logged on into your comp class, which is required by the end of the week. We'll also talk a little bit about academic writing, the type of writing we'll be doing in this course. For readings, you'll need to read Malcolm X's essay, A Homemade Education, which is found in the Conscious Reader. Virginia Woolf's wonderful essay called The Angel in the House, also found in the Conscious Reader. And for assignments, you'll be doing active reading exercises, including a blog entry, your first active reading blog entry about both texts, and another discussion forum about Virginia Woolf's text. Plus, you'll be doing an in-class essay, which you'll take at the Testing and Tutoring Center on campus. So by this time, you should have logged in, you should have gotten an access code and logged into your comp class. You must do so by the end of the week or you will be dropped from this class. As I've mentioned, this is a really important component of our class where you learn research writing. The course name is Dunkel, ENG 120, Reading in Comp 1, Spring 2013. If you have any trouble during the registration process, please call 1-800-936-6899 or you can email tech support at the email listed here. So just to review, you have an active reading list, and whenever you read anything for this class, you should pull out this list and make sure that you ask all of these questions before reading and then while reading. If you were in my physical classroom, I would look into your book to make sure that it was all marked up with all kinds of interaction between you and the person you're reading. You should not be afraid to write in your book, and you should really make sure that you're reading critically, you're asking questions, and really engaging with the text. That will make it a lot easier for you to do the work in this class, which will require you to actively, critically read text. So this week, after you've read Virginia Woolf's essay, I'd like you to participate in the discussion forum. Just a reminder, whenever you participate in a discussion forum in our class, you're not only going to post your own post, you're required to also post 3 thoughtful responses to your classmates' posts. So that means that after you read the text, you should go ahead and look through the discussion forum and see what people are talking about. You'll need your own response to the text, but you also want to participate in discussion. Try to think of it like we're in a classroom and you're interacting with what your peers are saying within the classroom. So for your discussion forum, I'd like you to answer the following questions. What are the characteristics of the angel in the house that's found in Woolf's essay? And why does Woolf say she had to kill the angel? What did she gain by killing the angel? It's important to remember this essay was originally delivered as a speech to the Women's Service League in London in 1931. How have things changed for women in the last 82 years? I'd like you to give specific examples from the text or from personal experience to support what you are saying. What professional challenges do women still face today? Next, I'd like you to complete your active reading blog. Your active reading blog is a place where each week you'll respond to a series of questions that'll ask you about all the texts that we've read. This week, your response should be about 250 words long, and you don't have to respond to anyone else. This week, I'd like you to answer the following questions. How is Malcolm X's quest for knowledge in A Homemade Education similar to Virginia Woolf's pursuit of her career as a writer in The Angel in the House? How are these essays different? What do you think is the main idea from each essay, and how can you relate to this main idea? All right, so the rest of this lecture is going to be about the writing process. Many of you have taken writing classes before, and you know that writing is a process. You don't just sit down and write a perfect essay. You go through a process of generating ideas, then planning, drafting, and developing your paper, and then finally revising and editing. And sometimes this cycle can continue and continue until you get the best possible essay that you can write. The beginning of the process is pre-writing. And for any essay you write for this class, and for any essay I hope that you write, you'll want to do some pre-writing. You do this so that you can generate ideas. The first step in any assignment, though, is to review the assignment to make sure you understand what you need to accomplish with your writing. Know that any writing assignment that you're given in this class, if you read the prompt, everything I want you to do in order to get an A is in that prompt. So my rubric, the way I grade the paper, will actually be based on what the writing assignment is written up as. So that's something to pay attention to. And if you ever have questions about an assignment, don't be afraid to ask. The second step after you reviewed the assignment is to choose your pre-writing technique. And usually you're going to want to do more than one type of pre-writing technique. You do a pre-writing technique in order to generate ideas. The first one, and probably the most common one, is called brainstorming. What you do in brainstorming is you free associate ideas based on a topic. So if you were given a prompt and asked to think of a topic, you write down, an idea, and then free associate from that. So you could start with the word tree and free associate apple, and then free associate Johnny Appleseed, and then keep going out until you find whatever matter your brain is thinking subconsciously about. And you can do this alone, or you can do it with a group of people. Another really common and great pre-writing technique is free writing. And that's where you just tap into your unconscious by continuously writing without lifting your pen or paper from the page. And you usually do this for about 10 minutes. That's what I recommend. So how do you do it? You start by writing a sentence at the top of the page. Usually that's kind of the topic or a research question or something to get yourself going. And then you write without stopping for at least 10 minutes. And it's important that while you're writing, you don't censor yourself and you let your mind wander. And if you get stuck, you can ask yourself questions like, what interests you about this topic? What do you care most about? What do you know about it that the next person doesn't? Things like that. And then after the 10 minutes, you want to go back through and see what you've written. And if you haven't come up with a good idea, you can do it again. Another way, if you're a more visual person, another really good way to generate ideas is to doodle or sketch. You can start by putting a picture in the middle of the paper, and then add sketches or doodles as they occur to you to embellish, expand, or define your topic. Another way, also if you're a visual learner, is to do some mind mapping. You can use cloud software, or you can just use sticky notes. And at the center of a piece of paper, you can write your idea, and then you can put groupings of ideas, like topics. Like start with, say, if I were writing on trees again, I could put in a circle of sticky notes around it. I could put types of trees, species of trees, climate where trees are located, the history of the tree, all the different subtopics that are related to that topic. And then off of those, under species of trees, I could say fir tree, apple tree, and eucalyptus tree. Keep going, right? And really try to get deeper and deeper and deeper and wider into my topic. Another way to generate ideas is by asking reporters questions. These are the questions like who, what, where, when, why, and how. You've probably done this one before, probably in lower grades. This is a really good way to get at the meat of an issue, to really understand what angle you want to take on a topic. So I have an example here you might want to review, starting with John F. Kennedy and the topic of just studying John F. Kennedy, really getting into the aspect of what about his life that this person wanted to study, just based on asking questions. So once you've generated ideas, now it's time to discover material. You discovered material to shape and support your ideas. You need, in order to really write a strong, solid paper, you have to have evidence. You need facts and figures. You find this through your own experience and knowledge, or by talking to your friends and people you know, or, and most importantly in this class, by doing research. And we're going to be doing a lot of that, so don't worry if you don't know how to do it yet. When you do research, you want to find materials that draw you to new approaches, and you want to think critically about all of these sources. So you want to approach research with a very open mind. The idea is you may have an idea about something, about what you think about apple trees, right? But if you do some research, you may find out that everything you knew about apple trees was completely wrong, and your mind can be completely changed. So once you've generated ideas, it's time to plan, draft, and develop. So this is the rest of the process. You identify your purpose and audience when you're planning. You decide on one main point, and then once you've decided on that, you state a thesis. Then you organize your ideas by grouping or outlining. Then, after you've done your planning, you start drafting. You start and restart and build paragraphs. You create an opening, an introduction, and a conclusion, and you create coherence by making the paragraphs flow from one to another. Finally, you're going to develop by explaining and supporting the evidence you've provided, by adding in definitions that are missing, more examples and details, and by supplying evidence such as facts, statistics, expert testimony, and observations. So, how do you go about planning? You identify your purpose and audience, decide on one main point, state a thesis, and organize ideas by group or outlining. So how do you identify your purpose and audience? You do that by deciding on one main point. So hopefully through your pre-writing, this process really helps you discover a topic or an idea that you'd like to write about. If not, obviously you need to go back and do it again. But once you've found that idea, you really want to test it to make sure that what you are saying has whatever you're saying has a purpose and is really going to relate to your audience, okay? The purpose is why you're writing, and your audience is who you're writing to. So, for example, say you were writing a paper and you were doing pre-writing. I was asking you to write about something that really was meaningful, a big problem that you're experiencing, and you've had the toughest time parking at Napa Valley College. And so you decided to talk about parking in the morning before class is annoying, right? This is really getting to you. But writing your thesis in that way is not really going to it may not really get the audience you want, the people that may be able to change policies to make parking be less annoying in the morning. So one way to restate that would be to say campus parking is a big problem. And that lays out a clean slate, a way to develop your purpose to a wider audience. So to continue, after you've figured out your main point, you want to arrange your ideas and material in a sensible order that will clarify your point. One way of doing this would be to create an outline or to analyze the main point by breaking it down into parts. So for example, you could break down your topic into parts by saying parking on campus is a problem for students because of the long lines, inefficient entrances, and poorly marked spaces. So this thesis really sets it up so that you'll have 3 different subtopics set up for you to write about in your essay. Now a thesis is the main point of your essay and your slant or the reason why you're writing about this topic. We're going to be talking a lot about your thesis during this semester. If you don't discover a solid thesis while you're planning, don't worry, because you'll have more time to perfect your thesis while you're developing your draft. Finally, you're going to actually start writing. You're going to begin to develop your ideas and let them emerge on the page. You can think up an outline. You can draft out an outline of the main ideas you want to hit, but you can also just let yourself write and then go back and develop by weaving in explanations, definitions, examples, details, and evidence to make sure your ideas are clear and persuasive. So when you draft, you should always consider this template. This is how you should think of crafting your essay. There should be an introduction where you introduce your topic and state your thesis. You should have several body paragraphs where you develop subtopics to prove your thesis. And each body paragraph should clearly cover a subtopic and relate the subtopic back to your thesis. And each subtopic should be supported with ample evidence. Finally, your conclusion should be the last part of your essay. and you're going to tell us in your conclusion how you've proven your thesis. What has the reader gained by reading your paper? How does your paper relate to a larger purpose? All right. So I'll also have a handout posted about that writing process. Remember, it's an overview. We're going to be going back to that process throughout the semester. But you get to practice it right away. So the last thing I want to talk about today is your in-class essay. Obviously, we don't have a physical class, so you'll need to take your in-class essay at the Testing and Tutoring Center, which is located on the top floor of Building 1700, that's the library, in room 1764. And I have a link here to the Testing Center webpage. It's open Monday through Friday, actually, but Monday through Thursday it has the most hours, 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on Friday it's open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. You must take your this is a diagnostic essay, which means you need to do the best work that you can, because based on how everyone performs, I will be setting up this class based on what everyone needs to learn. It's worth 20 points, and you earn those 20 points if you go to the testing center and do your best work. Excuse me. You must take this test before February 14th, okay? All right, so here's our course schedule for the next couple of weeks. Remember that you should try to do your reading before the beginning of the week so you're ready to go. I look forward to seeing you guys online.